of course, it's an extremely great privilege for me to be here in Cannes, which is now recognized as one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world, the prestigious French, European, and global annual appointment for film, and it has become a tradition in the film industry, and hopefully a tradition that I would be a permanent fixture in the years to come. So I want to start with a personal remark. You know, like many of my peers, when I was a student and in my youth, one of my absolute favorite pastimes was watching movie and film and different productions. And it was a way for me to immerse myself in the different cultures and the different identities of what makes us European, of what makes our culture so rich. So this was my first opportunity to experience the diverse realities that are portrayed by a great number of productions that we as Europeans are so fortunate to share. And it shows our diversity and our unity in diversity, which is the motto of our union. You know, as a youth then, I never would have imagined that I would be the European Commissioner for Culture, and that one day I would be here in Cannes speaking about the industry of film. So again, it's my honor and my privilege to join you for this 78th edition of this Cannes Film Festival, but above all, to share the responsibility that we have together to protect, to promote, and to safeguard European film. It's a crucial part of our culture, of our cultural heritage, and this is something that we have to do with the cultural and creative sectors at the heart of our efforts. So I want to contribute my contribution here today, and I will to be focused on 3 reflections. I will limit myself to 3 points. The first is the role and the vital role of film in our societies and democracy. The second is how we, as a European Commission, continue, and as a European Union, rather than the European Commission, continue to support the film sector and the film industry. And finally, I will try to provide some reflections about the future of film, at least my personal views on this. So first, on the role of film in our societies and in our democracies. I truly believe that one of our crucial priorities in this time is to promote open, democratic debates in our societies, along with bettering our quality of lives. And in this, I see film, I see the cultural sector as an enabler. It can, if we help this flourishing scene of diverse identities that we have to really grow, we can really reinforce the artistic and academic freedoms that are cornerstones in the European Union, and which are now increasingly under attack. So apart from offering support to the entertainment industry, I see this as an issue related to our well-being, our quality of life in Europe. And festivals like Cannes and others around the European Union, coupled with initiatives that we take at the European Union level, like the European Parliament's Lux Audience Award, can help us promote open debate on very important political issues. And they work hand in hand with our legislation that provides vital support to European film and the audiovisual community. And here I'm referring to regulation like the Audiovisual Media Services Directive, but also to the European Media Freedom Act and others that help us promote media freedom, pluralism, and open democratic discussions in our society, which actually help and assure that Europe remains a stronghold for press and media freedom. They enrich freedom of speech, artistic creation, and exchange as pillars of our European democracy here in Europe, which is the birthplace of European cinema. And these are core values for us as a union, which we will cherish and which we will need to protect. Now this brings me to my second point, support. As a European, but also as a European Commissioner, I am proud to see so many European productions in the running for many prizes around the Union. In 2023, there were 23 films backed by the media strand of Creative Europe that were competing in 6 categories here in Cannes. And it's a true testament of the strong, vibrant, and resilient film industry that we have, that is actually producing world-class cinema here in Europe. In the last 10 years, the media strand has supported almost 300 productions, works that have been winning prestigious international awards. And in this time, there were almost 1,000 films that were backed by EU support that were nominated for international prizes. Around 330 of them were nominated here in Cannes. And because we understand that this plays a vital role, the European Union and the member states remain committed to promote European cinemas, including through programs like the Next Generation EU and investments in skills. Because we understand that whenever the EU involved with regulation, with funding, with policy and effective support, we can help drive growth, innovation, and build a stronger film sector and audiovisual sector as well. And this is something that we see as a duty and a responsibility, as it is our responsibility to use this medium to send clear signals of support when our values like peace, security, and human rights are threatened. Now this includes productions like Donbass, Ukrainian productions, which won prizes here in Cannes. These are productions that we are incredibly proud to be supporting through the media strand of Creative Europe. And this forms part of our broader support for Ukraine and its cultural and creative sectors in their hour of need. And I'm incredibly grateful for EFAD's tireless support for Ukrainian cinema through European Solidarity Fund for Ukrainian Films. I said it multiple times and I will say it here again. Ukrainian culture is part of our European culture and we must protect it. The Commission's support under the media and legislation like the Audiovisual Media Services Directive that I just mentioned, coupled with a strong and robust copyright framework complemented by the AI Act, they offer us a very solid foundation that we can build upon to ensure that this sector continues to thrive and to be a competitive industry that safeguards accessibility to content first and foremost, but also the promotion of European content. We have achieved numerous successes in this respect, which go beyond the nominations in film festivals that are testament to our strength and impact. Successes like European Cinemas, for example, which is the first European cinema network that is dedicated to promoting and distributing European works. And then another example, one which most probably many of you would be familiar with, would be the Oscar-winning animation Flow, which premiered at last year's Cannes Film Festival. This is perhaps one of the best showcases of the impact of our support for the distribution of European film. But all this is also thanks to all of you, because our efforts combined with yours in recent years have led to an increased number of European co-productions. And only together can we continue to grow from strength to strength, building on the solid foundation that we have built thus far. So this brings me to my final point, some reflections about the road ahead and the challenges that we face. Yes, I'm aware that this is a sector that is facing challenges in relation to the rollout of artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, but I also know for a fact from the discussions that I had with the film industry that these industries are the ones who have always embraced the technologies, who have been pioneers of innovation, and which have envisioned the future. I could witness this in my visit in Madrid at the ECAM school that was financed by Next Generation EU funds just last week, where 300 film professionals there are graduating and playing a positive role in shaping technological change, advancing AI, and creating a strong and resilient ecosystem in film, both in Europe and beyond. These investments are crucial to ensure that technological progress remains at home in Europe in the future, to ensure that film and the audiovisual sector has the skills that it needs, but also to ensure that these sectors continue to harness the potential of new technologies like artificial intelligence. I will fight for the mainstreaming of film and audiovisual funding beyond Creative Europe, because I also recognize that this is crucial support in the face of these challenges. And then, despite the many advantages, we are reminded that this is a real threat. And experiences in other continents where there were strikes and protests that have sent a powerful message to this effect can help us realize that this is something that we need to have a discussion on. So when the use of artificial intelligence threatens to undermine the creative workforce or compromise the artistic integrity, the industry has to stand united and defend its values. In Europe, we have taken a proactive approach in this regard, also implementing and having regulations in place, such as the adoption of the Artificial Intelligence Act, which is a pioneering act in this respect, ensuring that copyright and intellectual property will be protected and the acquis will be enforced. And in this respect, we have processes that are ongoing, such as the evaluation of the Audiovisual Media Services Directive, which the Commission has committed to finalize by the end of this year, the end of next year. These are processes which I want to assure you will allow us to continue to listen, to make sure that your voice continue to be heard on these issues, because it truly matters. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have one final point. We are facing shifts in global politics. And in this respect, I also want to try and give you some assurance that our intention continues to be steadfast on building efforts to enable the industry to continue to be strong, competitive, and competitive here in Europe. To ensure that European directors, producers, and distributors continue to be resilient in the face of the challenges that we face. That we put our heads together to stay ahead of the game. To ensure that the cultural and creative sectors in Europe will be able to compete globally, and that our artists will be able to make a good and decent living from their work. I know from my discussions with the cultural and creative sectors that there is a strong consensus on the need to reflect and to build on these successes. But we will do this by looking outwards, by seeking to be a strong, stable, and reliable partner for colleagues around the globe, not closing ourselves to the world. This is not what we believe here in Europe. So as European Commissioner for Culture, all this will be part of my mission, and I want to work hand in hand with you, with Europe's cultural and creative sectors, to develop a cultural compass which will allow us to harness the multiple dimensions of culture, to join our efforts to collaborate on cultural policy, and to ensure that this is reflected in our political priorities, in our competitiveness, and in bolstering European democracy. And that includes a discussion with you. In this context, I would be very appreciative of contributions from the audiovisual sector and from the film industry in this work, because these consultations help us shape the future. I know that these topics are of great importance to the film industry, to CNC, and to EFAT. So I'd like to thank you for bringing us together for this discussion and to highlight how invaluable this work, how invaluable our efforts are to promote the work of European creatives. Together and with partners like the Council of Europe and member states, we can ensure that we continue to be committed towards a vision, a shared vision of European film and European culture. And I wish you all inspiring discussions, and most importantly, let me wish all European films in the running this year the very best of luck at this festival. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Micallef.
It's very important at the moment to sustain the system, also to...
We would like to share a short video of European filmmakers who we asked before the
physical boundaries, but more importantly, the cultural, aesthetic, financial...
Avec notre histoire. Et c'est là que le cinéma jouera un rôle de passerelle pour la génération future.